Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast. Time to hashtag everything. We talk about all the fun, crazy stories on social media. From Instagram to Facebook, Twitter to Tumblr, or probably even Friendster. Join us each week as we explore the quirky side of social media. It's the Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast.
It's simple, such a sad song. The one that we rely on to get us.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sarah, and I am very happy to be with you on this Thursday to talk about, what's trending, what's going on in the world of social media, all of that fun stuff. We're going to start with a story that makes me kind of happy. It makes me feel pretty good. So I always like those types of stories that give me encouragement that maybe the world is not so crazy as it seems. And this story is from the toy company Mattel. They have launched a line of gender non-conforming dolls that are free of labels. Kim Clemone, Senior Vice President of Mattel Fashion Doll Design, said, "Through research, we heard that kids don't want their toys dictated by gender norms." Now, if you have spent any time in a store that has toys lately, you will notice that they are definitely segregated by so-called gender norms. If you go to where the quote-unquote girl toys are, it's just a massive, massive wall of pink. You get a few more colors on the boys' aisle, but, it's a lot of blue. But there's so much pink on the girls' aisle, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with pink. Lots of people like pink. I know many boys who like pink. Girls like pink. People whose gender pronouns are they and them like pink. But it's very hard to find toys that are not marketed or created specifically toward one gender or the other. So this feels like a step in the right direction. Mattel, of course, is the same company who brought us Barbie, a gender conformist, if ever there were one. Sadly, Barbie has definitely got some bad press over the years. But Mattel now has launched this new line of gender non-conforming dolls. They are called the Creatable World dolls, and they come with short hair and a kit with a longer wig and a variety of clothing options. Those options then can be used by children to customize their toys' gender expression. Mattel promises that children can create more than 100 distinct looks with each set. Kim Clemone, again, is quoted as saying, "Toys are a reflection of culture, and as the world continues to celebrate the positive impact of inclusivity, we felt it was time to create a doll line free of labels." So I'm wondering if you've seen the pictures of this line. There are several different options in several different skin tones. Mattel worked with parents, physicians, and other experts to develop the product and tested these dolls with 250 families from 7 states, including 15 children who identify as trans, gender non-binary, or gender fluid. As of Wednesday, the 6 different doll kits are available for purchase online for around $30, and Mattel will be rolling out the dolls' availability in stores at a later time. In recent years, companies have been eliminating quote-unquote boys and girls sections. Where? I haven't noticed, but in favor of more gender-neutral marketing. In 2015, Target removed gender-based labeling in several departments around the store, and Disney stopped categorizing its Halloween costumes according to the gender binary. Last year, Mattel, too, opted out of classifying its toy divisions by gender. I think these are all really good steps forward. And it might not seem like that big of a deal to some of you who are listening, but as I don't know if I've said it often on this podcast, but I've said it a bunch on the Book Review podcast and other podcasts, representation matters. Children, adults, people, humans want to see themselves represented in the world around them. They want to see themselves represented in the TV shows they watch, in the books they read, in the toys that they play with. And so the more diversity we can get in these areas, the more people are going to feel connected. They're going to feel seen. They are going to feel like they are part of something bigger than themselves. So I always applaud these steps. And I know they might make some people feel kind of uncomfortable, but the world is changing and growing and becoming more inclusive. And we are understanding that there's not always just these binary systems that rule the world. There's so many different beautiful shades of gender, of ethnicity and race, and there's just so many beautiful different varieties out there. So the Creatable World dolls mark a noticeable difference from Mattel's other toys, which have been marketed in a gendered manner. Polly Pocket, American Girl, and Barbie are most often sold as toys for girls, while Hot Wheels and Matchbox toys have been sold as toys for boys. As a result, the Creatable World dolls present a unique opportunity to represent non-binary youth who have traditionally not been the target audience of mainstream toys. Though there are no large surveys of such youth under 10 years old, current research suggests that the number of gender non-conforming children is growing. A recent study by the Williams Institute at UCLA School of Law found 27% of California teens identify as gender non-conforming, while a 2018 Pew study found that 35% of those born between 1995 and 2015 say they know someone who uses gender-neutral pronouns like they and them, compared with 16% of those born between 1965 and 1980, which, on a side note, I just read that the artist Sam Smith has announced that they prefer their pronouns to be they and them, that they have struggled for a long time with gender binaries, and they don't feel like they are one or the other. So Sam Smith would prefer to be referred to by they or them, the gender neutral pronouns. So yeah, lots of stuff going on. And as I think about this story, I think about when I was a kid and how baby dolls used to be pretty much only white, just white baby dolls. And that's changing, and that makes me happy because I have a very beautiful and very colorful family. I have one niece who is mixed. I have one niece who is Chinese, and it makes me happy to know that there are toys out there that they can have that look like themselves. In college, I read Toni Morrison's book, The Bluest Eye, and it's heartbreaking, but it talks about a young African-American girl and this baby doll that she has that's white with blue eyes, and how, that was that in her mind is the standard of beauty, because they don't make babies that look like her. So obviously that's not something that is desirable, and it's heartbreaking, but accurate depiction of the time period in which it was written. And but back to this Creative World series. Calmon said, through research, we heard that kids don't want their toys dictated by gender norms. This line allows all kids to express themselves freely, which is why it resonates so strongly with them. While the dolls have heightened positive implications for gender nonconforming youth, they may also play a role in fostering doll play among boys for whom play has not been routinely advertised, according to Calmon, who said she hopes they encourage people to think more broadly about how all kids can benefit from doll play. Research shows that playing with dolls can benefit children of all genders by increasing their fine motor language and social skills, advancing their imagination, and helping them work through strong emotions. And a meme that often pops up on my social media news feeds is, something along the lines of, why would you let your boy play with a doll? Well, he might grow up to be a pediatrician or a father or an uncle or, any number of infinite things that this child might be grow up to be, or maybe the child will just grow up to be a nurturing, caring person who doesn't see babies as the sole province of women. Novel thought. All right, I could go on and on and on about social construction and gender norms and all of that stuff, but I will not. I am excited about this new line. I hope that it is the first of many changes and growth in the new growth in the toy industry. It'll be interesting to see how they are received and what else we get in terms of gender non-conforming or toys that are free of labels. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking about some royal news, because I love to royal ogle. Stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, and I'll be right back.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast, dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Welcome back to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast. Before the break, we were talking about Mattel's new line of gender non-conforming dolls, and we're going to move on now to some news of the British royal family. Those stories often pop up on my news feeds because, the algorithms know about my ogling obsessions. Social media or the internet, they're always watching. At any rate, Prince Harry and Meghan are in South Africa on a royal visit. They have taken baby Archie with them, and there are some adorable pictures and video clips of the three Sussexes meeting Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who is clearly a baby lover. He is so adorable as he meets baby Archie, and he gives them, there's a little baby high five, and he gives him the sweetest little kiss on the forehead. It's just really sweet. I mean, if you haven't seen the pictures, they're very adorable, and it's the first time we've actually got to see full face pictures of Archie, who looks a lot like Harry at that age. There was a side-by-side picture of Harry and Princess Diana when Harry was about the same age as Archie, and there's some definite similarities, although you can see Meghan in there as well. But I just can't get over how sweet Desmond Tutu is in these pictures and these videos, and the Sussexes communicated a lot via their official Instagram account, and they posted some video clips and some pictures of their encounter, and they titled it Arch Meets Archie. So, Archbishop Desmond Tutu meets Archie, who is very sweet looking. There's another couple of pictures where the four of them are sitting and chatting. Baby Archie is on Meghan's lap, sitting in front of a display of very, very pretty cupcakes, and the look on Archie's face seems to be like, I could eat those. It doesn't matter that I'm not eating solid foods. I think somebody should give me one of those. I would like to face plant in those cupcakes. He just looks very intrigued. Who knows what goes on in the mind of babies, but the looks on his face were very cute, and he seemed very well behaved in the presence of the Archbishop. Although I guess he did drool, and his mama had to say, mom things as she wiped his face. She probably didn't. Well, I don't know. Are there official royal gerp rags that you have to wipe babies' faces with, or does she just have an old cloth diaper at her disposal like the rest of us? I don't know. These are questions that I will never know the answer to, but It's very fun to have seen pictures of this newest baby in the royal family. He is adorable, of course, and he's off on his first official visit, visiting Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and the Archbishop's daughter was there as well. And I know a lot of official business happened, and Harry and Meghan are there in an official capacity. And I know Harry has gone off to Botswana and a few other places. Meghan and the baby are staying in South Africa. But it's nice to see them out and about and, doing their royal official duties, but then to get to see baby adorableness also makes me happy. So I'm happy. Got to see the baby. In other royal news, we finally got to see baby Archie's face, but also Princess Beatrice recently announced her engagement. So the official engagement pictures were posted on social media. Several of them were taken by her sister Eugenie in Italy, from where her fiance is from. And so she is engaged. Princess Beatrice is engaged to Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi. I'm probably butchering that name, but Princess Eugenie was married less than a year ago, and now 31-year-old Beatrice is engaged to 34-year-old property developer Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi. The pictures are very sweet, the ones that Eugenie took. They, of course, show off her ring, but the couple looks very, very happy, and the official announcement on Instagram from the royal family says the Duke and Duchess of York are delighted to announce the engagement of Princess Beatrice to Mr. Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi. Her Royal Highness and Mr. Mapelli Mozzi became engaged in Italy earlier this month. The wedding will take place in 2020. This photograph was taken by Princess Eugenie in Italy. Princess Beatrice and Mr. Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi said, "We are extremely happy to be able to share the news of our recent engagement. We are both so excited to be embarking on this life adventure together and can't wait to be married." I just love that they refer to him as Mr. Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi. That is quite the mouthful. There are other pictures. And Buckingham Palace announced this news this morning. And the pictures, again, are very sweet, as is usual. There's a couple, but then they also have a few official black and white photographs that were taken by, I am not sure, I know I saw the name, but now it is eluding me. At any rate, royal weddings, I think, are fun. I just, again, like to watch all the pomp and circumstances. I like to see the dresses. In weddings in Britain, the bridesmaids are little, and often they are, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, doing their utmost best to be very silly and engaging, and it's just fun. But congratulations again to Princess Beatrice and her new fiance. I know that Sarah Ferguson, Beatrice's mother, posted, as she's wont to do, on social media, and very excitedly announced the engagement of her daughter, of course, as she should, and that her other daughter, Eugenie, had taken the pictures. It was a very sweet post. Princess Beatrice's father, who is Prince Andrew, has, unfortunately for the royal family, recently been under fire due to his links to Jeffrey Epstein. So that's a bit of a not so great mark on the royal family's reputation and etc. So, but we're going to concentrate instead on the happier news of the engagement, because social media news podcast, happy engagement news. Royal babies and royal engagements. Let's just stick there. And not to leave Prince William and I almost said Meghan. Prince William and Kate out of things. They are busy doing their own official duties as well. They, commissioned a research vessel yesterday, sometime this week, that is named See, I cannot remember anything to save my life tonight. At any rate, they were off commissioning, christening, you know, where you smack where you break the champagne bottle over it. They didn't actually get to break the champagne. From what I read, Kate got to push a button that then a mechanical arm smashed the champagne bottle over the bow of this new research vessel. I am going to take a break because I clearly cannot speak. The vessel's named after one of the explorers who explored the Arctic. It'll come to me eventually, probably at like 2 a.m. Don't worry. I won't get up to do another podcast just to tell you that name. We're going to take our second break of the podcast, and when we come back, we'll be wrapping up this episode. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, and I'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast. We have talked about Mattel. We've talked about royal engagements and royal babies. I have forgotten 90% of the words that used to be in my vocabulary. And now we are going to move on to the final stories of this episode. And I'm going to try to make it through using actual words and not just ones that I made up out of the depths of my brain. Yeah, so what else do we have to talk about? It has been announced that this was trending on my Twitter today. It announced that Jennifer Lopez and Shakira are going to be headlining the Super Bowl in 2020. The Super Bowl halftime show, not the Super Bowl. You knew what I meant. You knew that they weren't actually going to play football against one another. I watched that. Could be interesting. They will be co-headlining the 2020 Super Bowl halftime show in Miami. On Thursday, Jennifer Lopez tweeted, "This is happening," with the date of next year's Super Bowl. And she posted a picture of Shakira. So, if you didn't quite know what was going on and there was just a picture of "This is happening" with Shakira. I mean, it does say 020220, which is a very cool date, by the way. But, if you're not familiar as to what the date of the Super Bowl is, which I wouldn't know off the top of my head, you'd be wondering what is happening between Jennifer Lopez and Shakira. Shakira also tweeted the news, writing, "Get ready." Pepsi, the main sponsor of the halftime show, confirmed the pairing on its Twitter page, tweeting two crown emoji. First time, two crown emojis, so two queens. First time, or royalty, or however you want to take that if you don't want to be, if we're going with gender non-conforming labels. First time together on stage, on the world's biggest stage. Welcome at JLo and at Shakira to hashtag Pepsi halftime, hashtag SBLIV. Super Bowl, what is that? 54? Maybe. I could be wrong. Ever since I saw Diana Ross fly off into the sky at the halftime show, I dreamed of performing at the Super Bowl, Lopez said in a statement. And now it's made even more special, not only because it's the NFL's 100th anniversary, but also because I am performing with fellow Latina. I cannot wait to show what us girls can do on the world's biggest stage. I'm so honored to be taking on one of the world's biggest stages in the company of a fellow female artist to represent Latinos and Latinas from the U.S. and all over the world, and to top it off on my birthday, added Shakira. This is a true American dream, and we are going to bring the show of a lifetime. So that is exciting news. I'm always interested to see who is going to be doing the halftime show of the Super Bowl. Pretty much I tune in for the commercials and the halftime show. The football's secondary. The news follows speculation that Lopez might take the stage for the big game. When asked by today's Hoda Kotb about the rumors earlier this month, Lopez played coy, saying, I don't know yet. We'll see. It's something obviously that I would love to do, she continued. It would be an honor to do, and it would be a lot of fun. I feel like more than anything, we would have a ball doing it. So the Super Bowl is scheduled to be played February 2nd, 2020 at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. And while we can announce the halftime show, we can't really announce who will be playing, although there's much speculation, of course. Week 4 of the NFL season, and we're already trying to figure out who is going to the Super Bowl. I have no idea. I could probably say the Patriots. That's a pretty safe bet, right? I mean, you've got a pretty good chance that they'll be one of the teams going to the Super Bowl, because they just are. Let us have our last story as something kind of fun, kind of quirky. Definitely a lot of work. My goodness. There is a house in West Virginia that displays 3,000 carved pumpkins every year. Wow. It is known for an insane yet beloved tradition of displaying thousands of pumpkins every Halloween. The picture of the house is very impressive. I mean, it's a cool house to begin with lots of character and gables and what looks like a towery kind of, it's not a turret. Are turrets always round? I don't know. But it's kind of a towery part that sticks up. I don't know architectural terms. See, I told you I didn't know half my vocabulary tonight. But let's talk about the pumpkins. I didn't carve a pumpkin. I was thinking about this the other day. I did not carve a pumpkin until I was 26. Something ridiculous. We didn't carve pumpkins in my family. We drew on them with a permanent marker, and then my mom cut them up after Halloween and cooked them. So I didn't actually carve a pumpkin until much later in life. And these folks do 3,000 every year. Whew. Rick Griffith of Canova, West Virginia, is known for this crazy but apparently beloved tradition of displaying thousands of pumpkins in his yard every Halloween. He says it's one of those things that there was no intent or plan. He's talking about how it all started. It just evolved out of a variety of factors and the response that people had to it. I mean, I can understand. You get excited, you carve 10, maybe 20, I don't even know, maybe 100. I can't even imagine carving 100. Well, I can't even imagine carving 10. I wonder how many people do it. I mean, maybe they have a pumpkin carving party. Griffith is a local pharmacist and the former mayor of the small town, and he said that it was started as just a wacky idea and has now grown into a beautiful community tradition. He says, I have 3 daughters, and when they were young, they and their friends would help me carve pumpkins for the house. The number of pumpkins kept increasing through the years, hundreds and then thousands, and finally Griffith said, let's do 3,000. I can't imagine. You know, when you go to find your pumpkin for the year and you have to pick out that one that you think is just right, maybe it's not perfect, but it's the best one of the batch, and it speaks to you, and that's the one. 3,000. I hope they grow their own. Well, the significance of the number of 3,000 is that's how many will fit on his property. He said, it's also a happy coincidence that the population of Canova is around 3,000 as well. So, you know, when you see those really amazing, crazy light shows for Christmas, this is kind of along those lines because they're all lit, and I don't think they have music and light shows, but starting on October 19th, which is in a little less than a month, volunteers head to the backyard and get to work carving 400 to 500 pumpkins a day for a week for 16 to 18 hours a day. Griffith said he usually has a core group of 20 volunteers who are there every day, but other people drop by to help when they can. It's organized chaos, he said, but every year it works. Well, it's a great tradition. My goodness, though, coordinating all of that. Griffith said he draws about 95% of the carving designs on the pumpkins before the volunteers arrive. That's amazing as well. Then the kids will scoop and the adults will carve while his wife Sandy makes sure everyone working is well fed. A few local high school classes will donate some decorated pumpkins too. Oh wow, this picture is of, this pumpkin has a carving of Teddy Roosevelt. Oh no, I'm sorry, Grover Cleveland. I knew that. As for the carvings, you'll find different themes throughout. They have a patriotic section every year with all of the presidents represented. There's also the cat choir, which features a bunch of pumpkins carved into cat shapes with a recording of cats meowing in the background. Oh, there's video if you really want to find out what's going on. One that just says Canova, West Virginia, which seems very, very appropriate. There's no admission to check out the display, and nearly 30,000 people, that's 10 times the population of the town, by the way, come by to see it in all of its glory each year, according to Griffith. It can get pretty crowded, so people have to park and walk to see it up close. The Pumpkin House is one of the festivities that's part of the CK Autumn Fest, which has events like a parade, scavenger hunt, and haunted trail. Griffith said he's been blessed to meet so many people because of this tradition. He said, "We get visitors from all over the world. Last year, a lady from Ireland told me, 'This is the greatest thing I've seen in America so far.'" That is awesome. So, hey, if you are someone who likes to travel to see specific things, maybe this is something that you want to put on your list, because if you can't make it this year, it sounds like it'll still be there next year. And that's, wow. I'm impressed with people who are that creative, that innovative, that energetic to do things like this. So we will end this episode of the GSMC Social Media News Podcast on 3,000 carved pumpkins. Seems appropriate for the time of year. Hope you have a great Friday, a great weekend, and join me again on Monday, when we will have more social media news. We'll find out what was trending over the weekend. Talk to you then.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Social Media Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.